Have you ever wondered what would happen if Yuji Itadori knew everything that was going to happen before it even started? As we go through the video, I'll explain just how Yuji Itadori was given a second chance, with all his memories intact, and what changes would happen in the main plot of JJK. Would he still make the same choices? Could he save everyone he cared about? Could he prevent Gojo from being sealed and eventually killed? Well, we first have to answer the question, how does Yuji get his memory? Let's say that after everything that happened in the manga, after all the battles and Sukuna's defeat, Yuji finds himself in the same space between life and death where sorcerers go. More specifically, the airport. That's when something strange happens. Maybe it's his connection to Sukuna, or it's the nature of cursed energy itself. Who knows? But when he opens his eyes, he's back in that hospital room as a high schooler where his grandfather was dying in front of him. But this time, he remembers everything that happened. Yuji stands there listening to his grandfather's final words about helping people and dying surrounded by others. But this time, those words hit different. Yuji knows exactly what's coming. He knows about the cursed finger at his school, about Megumi, about Sukuna, about everything. When Megumi shows up at his school looking for the cursed object, Yuji already knows what's about to happen. He knows that cursed finger is about to cause a huge mess. He knows his friends are in danger. But here's the thing, Yuji also knows that eating that finger is what starts everything. It's what makes him a vessel for Sukuna and eventually leads to so much pain and death. So what does he do? Does he avoid the finger entirely? Does he let someone else handle it? No. Because Yuji also knows that he's special. His body can contain Sukuna in a way that no one else can, and he knows that if he doesn't become Sukuna's vessel, someone else might, and they might not be able to control the King of Curses as he can. Plus, he knows that Sukuna is going to be a major threat no matter what, and the best way to deal with him is to keep him contained. But this time, Yuji makes a different choice. Instead of eating the finger in a panic to save Megumi, he has a conversation with Megumi first. He tells him that he knows what the finger is and what it can do. He knows that he can eat it and survive, and before he does, he needs Gojo Satoru to come ASAP. Of course, Megumi's gonna think that Yuji is insane and probably a spy because he knows who Gojo is. But trusting his gut instinct, Megumi somehow just agrees. He calls Gojo, and just as Gojo arrives, Yuji eats Sukuna's finger. The entire fight between Sukuna and Gojo happens, and Yuji suppresses Sukuna just like in the main timeline. But this is where things really start to change. You see, when Yuji meets Gojo for the first time, he kinda doesn't play it cool. He immediately asks Gojo to have a private conversation with him with no one else around. And as always, Gojo has a few screws loose. He agrees, but he still keeps his guard up. That's when Yuji drops a bomb. He tells Gojo everything. About the prison realm, about Kenjaku being inside Geto's body, about the Shibuya incident, about Gojo being sealed and eventually killed by Sukuna. He tells him about Megumi becoming Sukuna's vessel and about the culling games. Literally everything. Obviously, Gojo doesn't just believe him right away. Why would he? This is some random kid who just ate a cursed finger. But Yuji knows things he shouldn't know. He knows about Gojo's past with Geto, about the Six Eyes and Limitless, about Toji Fushiguro, and what happened during the Star Plasma Vessel incident. He knows details that only Gojo would know. After hours of questioning and verification, Gojo starts to believe him. Or at least, he believes that Yuji believes what he's saying, and some of the information Yuji provides is too specific and detailed to ignore. Especially after hearing about his death, Gojo gets serious and agrees to make a plan with Yuji to make sure none of the events he mentioned happen. The main timeline, with Gojo believing him, Yuji's entire journey as a sorcerer changes. Gojo doesn't just train him to control Sukuna, he trains him with the future in mind. Gojo also takes Yuji's warnings seriously. He starts investigating Geto's body, trying to find proof of Kenjaku's possession. He warns the higher-ups about the prison realm, though he's careful not to reveal too much. After all, Yuji warned him that there's a mole among the higher-ups, someone feeding information to Kenjaku. But Gojo doesn't work alone. He brings in people he trusts. He tells Yuta about the situation when Yuta returns from Africa. He warns Nanami to be extra careful, especially around a patchwork curse named Mahito. He even reaches out to Yuki Tsukumo, explaining that there's a major threat coming and they need to prepare. As for Yuji, he still goes to Jujutsu High and becomes friends with Megumi and Nobara. He makes sure to help them train extra hard, and more specifically, train counterattacks against the curses they're going to fight in the future. He pushes Megumi to tame more of his Shikigami to understand his technique better, because Yuji knows that the stronger Megumi is, the harder it will be for Sukuna to take him over. The early missions, like the Cursed Womb arc and the encounters with cursed spirits, play out differently now. Yuji knows exactly what's going to happen, so he's prepared. When they face the special grade cursed spirit in the detention center, Yuji already knows what to expect. He's able to work with Megumi more effectively, and they actually manage to exercise it without Yuji having to die and let Sukuna take over. This is huge, since in the main timeline, Yuji's death and resurrection were a major turning point. It's when everyone found out that Sukuna could take over, and it's when Yuji started to understand the danger he represents. But now, Yuji avoids that entire situation. The Goodwill event also goes differently. Yuji knows about the curse users attacking, and knows about the other unregistered cursed spirits. He warns Gojo ahead of time, and Gojo makes sure there's extra security. When the attack happens, they're ready for it. Gojo confronts Hanami and destroys it quickly. The curse users are captured before they can do too much damage. And most importantly, Todo still gets to fight Yuji and have his moment, because some things are just meant to happen. Even characters like Junpei, who died early in the original timeline, survive, because Yuji knows about Mahito's plans and intervenes before Mahito can manipulate him. Junpei ends up becoming a jujutsu sorcerer himself, finding the belonging he always wanted. This is the big one. Yuji knows that the Shibuya incident is when everything goes wrong in the original timeline, so Yuji makes sure everyone is prepared. Months before October 31st, he starts warning people. He tells Gojo the exact details of how the prison realm works, about the 1-minute rule, and about how they'll try to use Geto's face to stop him. And the good thing here is that Gojo takes it seriously. Now he's mentally prepared to see Geto's face again. Yuji also warns everyone else. He tells Nanami about Mahito, specifically tells him to be really careful and to never fight Mahito alone. He warns Nobara too, and makes her promise that if she sees Mahito, she'll fall back and call for help. He even warns Mechamaru about Mahito and that they're setting up a trap for him. This saves Mechamaru's life, and that's when he becomes an inside man who can feed wrong info to Mahito and the cursed spirit. When October 31st finally arrives, the sorcerers are ready. Gojo goes into Shibuya, but this time he's not alone. Yuta is secretly hidden somewhere nearby, and he's there to help if things go wrong. Lastly, Nanami, Nobara, and the other sorcerers are all aware that this was a trap to seal Gojo. The attack happens as expected, where cursed spirits swarm Shibuya and curtains trap civilians inside. But this time, the sorcerers are ready. When Kenjaku appears in Geto's body, wielding the prison realm, Gojo doesn't hesitate even for a bit. He's mentally prepared to see his dead friend's face, and he doesn't freeze up. And before the prison realm can activate its sealing requirement, Gojo already trapped Kenjaku in the unlimited void. Curse users and spirits arrive to save Kenjaku, but Yuta emerges from the shadows and just obliterates all of them. The battle was still brutal and dangerous, and people still got injured, but the casualties were not as bad as in the main timeline. This time, Nanami fights alongside several sorcerers instead of going solo. When Mahito appears, they coordinate their attack and eventually overpower him. Since Gojo wasn't sealed, he couldn't run through the chaos. In the end, Mahito is defeated with the help of Yuji, and as a result, Nobara avoids idol transfiguration entirely, and Nanami survives. Even though Kenjaku escapes using a backup curse technique, the prison realm plot still completely fails. Gojo is still free, and this single change rewrites everything. Of course, since Gojo is still here, the culling games don't happen the same way, because Kenjaku doesn't have enough power to push through with his plan. And since Gojo is now fully aware of what Kenjaku wants to do, he starts hunting him down, and they eventually corner him. It was a hard battle, but since Gojo had Yuta's help, and possibly Yuki, they beat him. Gojo makes sure to destroy Kenjaku completely this time, and does not give him any chance to come back or possess another body. So with Kenjaku gone, one of the biggest threats is cleared out, but Sukuna's still here, right? So what do? That's when they make a plan. Instead of letting Sukuna run wild, they're going to seal him permanently. Yuki starts working with Tengen, who's still safe because Kenjaku never got to merge with them, and makes a special seal designed specifically for Sukuna. To lure him, Yuji willingly becomes bait. He lets Sukuna take over temporarily, and the moment Sukuna manifests, they activate the seal. It was incredibly risky, but it worked. Sukuna is sealed away. This time though, it wasn't inside Yuji, but in a special prison designed by Tengen that can't be broken. It was that easy because they already knew what Sukuna was capable of through Yuji. And since both Kenjaku and Sukuna are gone, the world enters a new era of peace. It's not perfect, and there are still cursed spirits to fight, but it wasn't as bad as the original plot. As for Yuji, he's finally able to relax a bit. Sukuna is permanently sealed, so he doesn't have to worry about the King of Curses taking over his body and hurting people he cares about. He can focus on being a sorcerer and on living up to his grandfather's final words. As years pass, Jujutsu High thrives with a new generation of students. Yuji, Megumi, and Nobara become instructors themselves, and are training even younger sorcerers. They tell everyone what happened, though they never mention Yuji's memories, nor the alternate future that could have come to life. And that's what would happen if Yuji Itadori had his memories from the beginning. But what about you? Do you like this ending more than the original manga? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe, click the like button, and turn on the bell.